What if I told you that your entire life, every success, every failure, every moment you've ever lived, was shaped by a single, invisible force inside your mind? Not fate, not luck, not the world around you, but the silent thoughts you repeat to yourself when no one else can hear. Take a breath, slow and gentle, because right now, in this moment, you are stepping into a journey that has the power to rewrite your entire reality. Your thoughts are not background noise. They are blueprints. They are vibrations. They are the architects designing every corner of the life you walk through. For years, you may have believed that life is something that happens to you. But the truth is simpler and far more powerful. You become what you think. You always have. You always will. In this transformative audiobook, we are going to peel back the layers of your inner world, uncovering the subconscious patterns that shape your identity, revealing the hidden forces behind your emotions and behaviors, and guiding you toward the version of yourself you were always meant to become. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about reclaiming authorship of your reality, about awakening the part of you that has been quietly creating your life in the shadows, thought by thought, belief by belief, moment by moment. As you listen, allow the words to move gently through your mind. Let them soften the tension in your body. Let them settle into the quiet places of your subconscious, where real change begins. Because tonight, you are not just listening to an audiobook. You are stepping into a new identity, one thought at a time, one breath at a time, one awakening at a time. Now, whenever you're ready, let's begin the journey of becoming the person your thoughts have always called you to be. Have you ever paused long enough to notice the quiet voice inside your mind? The one that speaks when the world finally grows still? The one that whispers when the distractions fade? The one that seems to know you better than anyone else ever could? Most people never truly hear that voice. They rush through their days, pulled by responsibilities, habits, impulses, expectations. They react. They resist. They endure all without realizing that beneath every action, beneath every emotion, beneath every decision lies a single, powerful origin, a thought. Your thoughts are not merely ideas floating through your mind. They are the silent architects shaping the blueprint of your reality. Before anything becomes physical, before any path becomes visible, it exists first as a vibration, a pattern, a thought within you. Your outer world is a mirror always reflecting the inner landscape you cultivate. Imagine walking through life with a lens you didn't know you were wearing. A lens crafted by every belief you've ever held, every story you've told yourself, every memory you've replayed until it became part of your identity. This lens colors how you interpret the world. It filters opportunities, relationships, challenges. It determines what you think you deserve and what you unconsciously push away. And the extraordinary truth is this: change the lens, and the world changes with it. Your thoughts are seeds. Each one contains the potential to bloom into something real, an emotion, a habit, a day, a future. When you repeatedly think a thought, you water that seed. You feed it. You breathe life into it until it becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, it becomes the silent operating system guiding everything you do. Think back to moments in your life where a single thought changed the direction of your day. Perhaps you woke up feeling overwhelmed, and the first thought that crossed your mind was, "I can't handle this." Notice what happened after. The body tensed. The breath shortened. Small inconveniences felt heavier. The world seemed sharper, colder, more demanding, all because of a single sentence whispered in the privacy of your mind. Now imagine another morning, a quiet moment of clarity, a gentle thought rising from within. Something good is coming. Suddenly, the air feels lighter. The world doesn't change. But you change, and because you change, the world responds differently. This is not fantasy. This is not blind optimism. This is the lived reality of every human being. Your thoughts set the frequency of your life. You cannot hear a radio station you are not tuned into. And you cannot attract experiences that do not match the dominant vibration of your inner world. Every thought carries energy. Fear tightens your reality. Doubt shrinks it. Worry distorts it. But hope expands your possibilities. Clarity sharpens your choices. Confidence opens doors you once believed were locked. The mind does not simply observe reality. It participates in creating it. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. The brain rewires itself to match the thoughts you think most often. Spiritual traditions call it manifestation. The outer world bends to the inner one. Both speak of the same truth through different languages. You become what you repeatedly tell yourself. If your inner voice says you are unworthy, you will subconsciously reject opportunities meant for you. If it says you are capable, you will rise to meet challenges that once terrified you. Your life expands or contracts according to the thoughts you allow to take root. And yet, so many people live with thoughts they did not choose, inherited beliefs, internalized criticism, memories that never fully healed. They walk through a reality shaped by echoes of the past, unaware that they hold the power to write a different story. You are not one of those people. Not anymore. Because as you listen to these words, something inside you is waking up a knowing, a recognition, a gentle truth you may have forgotten. You are the thinker, not the thought. You are the creator, not the creation. You are the architect, not the blueprint. Once you understand this, you can begin to choose differently. You can soften thoughts that once felt heavy. You can release stories that no longer belong to the person you are becoming. You can plant new seeds, seeds of strength, clarity, abundance, peace, and watch as they reshape your internal landscape. Tonight, let this be your beginning. Let this be the moment you reclaim authorship over your mind. Breathe deeply. Feel the stillness beneath your thoughts. Feel the power returning to you, not as force, but as awareness. Your reality is not fixed. Your future is not predetermined. Your life is not defined by the thoughts you inherited, but by the thoughts you choose from this moment onward. And as you move forward in this journey, remember this truth: every thought is a doorway. Choose the ones that lead you toward the life you are meant to live. Most people live their entire lives unaware of the thoughts that shape them, not because they lack intelligence, but because the patterns that govern their minds operate silently, beneath the surface, like currents pulling a ship far from its intended shore. These patterns do not shout. They whisper. They settle into the background until they feel like truth. And it is exactly this quiet familiarity that makes them so powerful. Negative thought patterns rarely announce themselves as negative. They disguise themselves as realism, caution, humility, or simply the way things have always been. They blend into your self-image so convincingly that you begin to mistake them for your identity. You begin to believe that the limits you feel are somehow natural, that they came with you, rather than being shaped by years of unexamined thoughts. But the truth is far gentler and far more liberating. Your limitations are learned, not inherent, and anything learned can be unlearned. To recognize the invisible chains of negative thinking, you must slow down enough to hear the subtle movements of your inner world, not with judgment, not with resistance, but with curiosity, the kind of curiosity you would offer a child who is trying to explain why they are afraid of the dark. Close your eyes for a moment. Think of a time when something small went wrong, a message left unanswered, a mistake made at work, a moment where life didn't unfold the way you hoped. Notice the first thought that rose in you. Was it gentle, or did it carry a quiet weight, a heaviness you couldn't quite explain? Maybe it said, "Of course, this would happen," or "I always mess things up," or "Nothing ever works out for me." These are not mere thoughts. They are echoes, remnants of old experiences, old criticisms, old wounds that were never fully understood. They sit beneath your awareness, shaping the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. A single negative thought passing through the mind is normal. It becomes a pattern when it repeats silently, consistently, until it forms a groove in your consciousness. And the deeper the groove, the more your life begins to follow its path. Perhaps you've noticed this in moments of self-doubt. You set a goal, feel excitement, take the first step, and then something inside pulls you back. Not loudly, not aggressively, just a gentle tightening. A whisper that says, "Be careful. Don't try too hard. You've failed before." These whispers aren't trying to hurt you. Strangely, they often arise from a place of protection. Your mind remembers pain, the embarrassment of rejection, the sting of criticism, the ache of disappointment, and it creates patterns designed to shield you from feeling that again. But protection built on fear becomes a prison. And the prison bars are made of thoughts you didn't choose. To break free, you must first see them clearly. Imagine your mind as a vast, dimly lit room. In the corners, shadows move habits of thinking so old they've become almost invisible. When you shine the light of awareness onto them, they do not fight back. They simply reveal themselves for what they are: old stories, outdated beliefs, misunderstood memories. Awareness is not confrontation. Awareness is illumination. And what is illuminated can be changed. Start by observing how you speak to yourself in quiet moments. When you try something new, do you feel the rising energy of possibility or the shrinking tension of internal criticism? When someone compliments you, do you receive it fully or deflect it with discomfort. When you imagine a dream you deeply want, does your mind whisper yes? Or does it whisper something smaller? These whispers are the hidden chains, subtle, repetitive thought patterns that pull your life in directions that do not honor who you truly are. Some patterns come from childhood. A parent who spoke with harshness. An environment where mistakes were punished. A culture that taught you to shrink instead of shine. Some patterns come from experience. A heartbreak that convinced you love was unsafe. A failure that made you believe success was reserved for someone else. A betrayal that taught you to question your own worth. And some patterns come simply from habit thought loops repeated so many times that they became automatic. Like a song you know too well, but no longer enjoy. But here is the shift. The awakening. The turning point. You are not your patterns. You are the witness to them. And the witness always has the power to choose. It begins with noticing. Noticing the tightening in your chest when you doubt yourself. Noticing the heaviness in your stomach when negativity rises. Noticing the stories that start with "I always" or "I never." Stories that box you into identities far smaller than your potential. When you notice a negative pattern, you don't need to resist it. Resistance gives it power. Instead, breathe into it. Observe it. Speak to it gently. As if speaking to an old part of yourself that learned to fear in order to survive. You might say, "I see you. I understand why you formed. But we do not need this pattern anymore." Awareness softens the grip of any negative thought. Understanding dissolves its authority. And compassion transforms it into something new. Every time you observe a negative pattern without becoming entangled in it, you create a moment of freedom, a small opening, a crack in the walls of old conditioning. And through that opening, new possibilities begin to enter. Your life begins to shift the moment you stop accepting every thought as truth. You start to realize that some thoughts are simply old echoes. Some belong to a version of you that no longer exists. Some are nothing more than habit, a familiar voice repeating memories of a past you have already outgrown. And when you see these patterns clearly, something extraordinary happens. You begin to choose differently. You begin to think differently. You begin to live differently. This is the first step toward transformation, not to replace negative thoughts with positive ones, but to recognize that you are the one who chooses which thoughts to keep and which to release. The unseen chains start to loosen. The inner landscape grows brighter, and the life you were meant to live begins quietly, gently, beautifully, to emerge. Every life is shaped by a story. Not the story you tell the world, but the quiet one you tell yourself in moments when no one is watching. A story made of thoughts, memories, interpretations, and meanings stitched together over years of living. This story becomes your inner script, the invisible narrative whispering who you are, what you deserve, and how far you believe you can go. Most people never realize that this script is not fixed. They assume their reactions are simply who they are. Their beliefs are simply truth, and their patterns are simply fate. But nothing could be further from reality. Your inner script is not carved in stone. It is written in chalk, and you hold the eraser. To transform your life, you must first understand the script that runs beneath your consciousness. Thought loops, beliefs, and internal narratives repeat themselves so often that they begin to feel familiar, even comfortable, not because they are right, but because you have rehearsed them for so long. Think of a line of dialogue spoken so many times that the actor no longer questions its meaning. They simply deliver it, automatically, instinctively, emotionally, even if the words do not reflect who they truly are. You have been performing lines you did not write. Lines shaped by childhood experiences. Lines shaped by fear-driven moments. Lines shaped by the expectations of others. Lines shaped by versions of yourself you have already outgrown. To rewrite your inner script, you must return to the quiet place within you where these lines first took shape. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath. Now notice the thoughts that arise when you imagine stepping into a bigger life, a life where you succeed, where you are loved deeply, where you express your gifts fully, where you walk with freedom and confidence. Does your mind expand toward that vision? Or does it pull you back with familiar whispers? Don't expect too much. What if you fail? People like you don't get that kind of life. These whispers are not truth. They are old lines in the script. Lines once written to protect you from disappointment, criticism, rejection, or pain. But as time passed, the protection became a prison, a set of invisible walls keeping you from stepping into the fullness of who you are. To change your life, you must rewrite these lines, not by fighting them, not by silencing them, but by understanding them so deeply that they no longer hold authority over you. Imagine holding your inner script in your hands, the unwritten pages glowing softly, waiting for your direction, and the old pages trembling with the weight of unexamined thoughts. If you look closely, you will see that the script is held together not by truth, but by repetition. A thought repeated long enough becomes a belief. A belief accepted long enough becomes an identity. An identity lived long enough becomes a destiny. But destiny can be rewritten at the level of thought. To begin, listen to the thoughts that return to you. Again and again, the loops that play when you're tired, when you're challenged, when you're alone. These loops reveal the core lines of your script. Perhaps you hear, "I am not enough. I don't belong. Success is for other people. Love leaves. Everything is hard for me." These lines feel powerful because they were written at a time when you felt small. But you are not that person anymore. As you grow, the script must grow with you. Take one thought loop, just one, and place it before you. Instead of resisting it, become curious. When did I first hear this? Whose voice does it resemble? What was I trying to protect myself from? What proof did I gather to support it? And how much of that proof came from fear rather than truth? The moment you question a thought, the loop weakens. Thought loops feed on unconscious acceptance. They dissolve the moment you shine awareness on them. Now imagine replacing the old line with a new one, not a forced affirmation, not empty positivity, but a sentence that feels like the next version of you. A sentence that expands rather than restricts. Instead of, "I am not enough," a quiet truth emerges. "I am learning who I am, and that is enough for now." Instead of, "Success is for other people," a gentle shift forms. Success is simply a pattern, and I can learn new patterns. instead of "things are always hard for me." The inner landscape softens into life, meets me differently when I meet it differently. These new lines do not erase the past, they free you from repeating it. Every time you choose a new sentence, you carve a new pathway in your mind. Every time you challenge an old belief, you loosen its grip. Every time you imagine a different ending, your subconscious begins rewriting the script. This work is subtle but profound. It does not require force. It requires presence. The mind is not transformed by shouting over old thoughts. It is transformed by guiding them gently, consistently, compassionately. As you repeat new lines, the old script begins to fade. It loses power, not because you fought it, but because you stopped feeding it. And in the space left behind, a new script emerges, one shaped by clarity, truth, and possibility. A script where you are not the character trapped by circumstance, but the author shaping the story. A script where your past is a chapter, not a sentence. Where your fears are footnotes, not headlines. Where your self-worth is not negotiable. Where your future is not limited by your history. Where your identity is not fixed but evolving. Where your thoughts are not cages but keys. You are rewriting yourself every moment you choose a new thought. This is the quiet miracle of being human, that transformation does not happen in grand declarations, but in the smallest shifts of inner narrative. Tonight, as you let these words settle into the softest parts of your mind, allow this truth to rise gently within you. You are not bound by the lines you once learned. You are free to write new ones. Your inner script is yours to shape, and your life will follow the words you choose next. There is a part of your mind that speaks so softly you rarely hear it, yet it guides more of your life than you could ever imagine. A place beneath your thoughts, beneath your reactions, beneath the stories you tell yourself about who you are. A place that remembers everything you've felt, everything you've believed, and everything you've survived. This place is your subconscious, the hidden power quietly shaping your reality from the shadows. If your conscious mind is the narrator of your life, your subconscious is the author, writing the chapters you haven't yet read. It does not argue. It does not judge. It simply creates based on what you repeatedly feel, expect, and believe. Most people think they make decisions with logic, but in truth, almost every choice, every habit, every instinctive reaction is born not from conscious reasoning, but from subconscious programming. You hesitate to speak up not because you're incapable, but because your subconscious learned long ago that silence felt safer. You doubt your potential not because you lack ability, but because at some point the subconscious absorbed a belief that you must remain small. You fear failure not because the future is dangerous, but because your subconscious still carries echoes of old hurts. The subconscious does not operate through words. It operates through emotion, repetition, and imagery, through the energy behind your thoughts rather than the thoughts themselves. To enter this hidden realm, you must slow down, not with effort, but with softness, not with force, but with presence. You cannot barge into the subconscious. You must be invited in. Close your eyes, even if only in your mind. Feel the weight of your breath as it moves in. moves out. Notice the space that opens between each inhale and exhale. It is in this quiet space that the subconscious begins to reveal itself. Perhaps memories rise, not the loud ones, but the subtle ones you haven't visited in years. A moment from childhood when you felt overlooked. A disappointment you never fully processed. A compliment you dismissed, though a part of you longed to believe it. These fragments are not random, they are foundations. They are the emotional imprints your subconscious still uses to predict how the world will treat you. The subconscious is not rational. It is loyal. It clings to whatever once kept you safe, even if those behaviors no longer serve who you are becoming. You may wonder why a part of your mind would hold on to pain. But to the subconscious, pain is familiar, and familiarity feels like security. This is why change often feels uncomfortable. Not because the new path is dangerous, but because the subconscious cannot yet recognize it as safe. To transform your life, you must teach this hidden power a new language. Not through pressure, not through criticism, but through gentle repetition, visual imagery, and emotional truth. Imagine for a moment that your subconscious is like a vast library. Every belief you've ever held is stored there in rows of quiet shelving. Some beliefs are bright, open, ready to support your growth. Others sit in the dimmer corners, old stories, outdated rules, inherited expectations, unhealed wounds. You do not need to empty the library. You only need to walk through it with awareness, choosing which volumes you will continue to read and which ones you are finally ready to lay aside. When you visualize your desires, you are placing new books on the shelves. When you repeat affirming thoughts, you are rewriting old pages. When you respond with compassion instead of fear, you are teaching your subconscious a new emotional language. And slowly, quietly, beautifully, the subconscious begins to shift. It will not change in a single moment, because it does not operate with sudden bursts of inspiration. It changes through the soft, steady rhythm of new experience. Imagine showing a frightened animal that the world is safe. You do not force it out of hiding. You sit near it. You breathe. You let your presence be felt. And eventually, the animal steps forward, curious and ready. Your subconscious is no different. It must feel safety before it can rewrite your reality. This is why self-kindness matters, why mindfulness matters, why slowing down matters. You are not merely calming your conscious mind, you are soothing the deeper layers of yourself that have been holding the weight of your past. As you breathe, as you relax, as you allow your inner world to soften, the subconscious opens like a door that was never locked, just never approached gently. Through this door, you begin to understand things about yourself you never saw clearly. You begin to recognize why certain fears linger, why certain patterns repeat, why certain dreams feel distant. Not because you are broken, but because your subconscious has been following an old blueprint that no longer fits the life you are ready to create. And here is the profound truth. Your subconscious is always listening. Every word you whisper internally, every image you imagine, every emotion you feel, deeply, the subconscious absorbs it all and shapes your world accordingly. When you constantly imagine worst-case scenarios, Your subconscious prepares you for struggle. When you repeatedly relive past hurts, your subconscious assumes they are still happening. When you quietly believe you are unworthy, your subconscious filters out experiences that contradict that belief. But when you imagine beauty, when you allow yourself to feel joy, when you hold a vision of your future with calm certainty, your subconscious learns a new pattern, a pattern that supports your growth, your abundance, your transformation. You are entering a relationship with the deepest part of yourself, a relationship of trust, patience, and gentle reprogramming. As you move forward in this journey, remember this: the subconscious does not respond to who you pretend to be. It responds to who you believe you are. So soften the old beliefs. Warm the cold places of your inner world. Offer kindness to the parts of you that learned fear, and allow this hidden power to rise not as an enemy, but as your greatest ally. For when your subconscious aligns with your conscious intention, life no longer feels like effort. It becomes flow. It becomes harmony. It becomes creation. And you begin to witness a quiet miracle. Your inner world changes, and the outer world follows. Before anything becomes real in the outer world, it must first exist in the inner one. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every chapter of a new life begins with a moment of quiet imagining, a vision held not by the eyes, but by the mind's deeper gaze. To visualize is not to fantasize. It is to communicate with your subconscious in its own native language. The subconscious does not think in words. It thinks in imagery, emotion, sensation, and energy. When you visualize, you are not daydreaming. You are sending instructions to the deepest part of yourself about who you are becoming. Most people misunderstand visualization. They treat it as wishful thinking, as if merely seeing the future is enough. But visualization is not about forcing reality. It is about reshaping identity so that new reality becomes natural. You cannot step into a life you cannot first imagine. And you cannot imagine a life you do not believe you deserve. So we begin not with the picture, but with the inner atmosphere in which that picture arises. Close your eyes for a moment, not to escape the world, but to access the world within. Let the breath soften. Let the mind quiet just enough for the deeper images to appear. Now imagine the version of yourself you long to become, not the surface version, not the one shaped by society's expectations, but the version that feels like truth, the version that has been whispering to you in quiet moments of longing. Do not force the image. Let it approach you gently, as if emerging from a distant horizon. You may see this version of yourself clearly, confident, calm, expansive, grounded, or the image may arrive as a feeling, a sensation, a presence rather than a picture. Either way is perfect. Visualization does not require clarity. It requires connection. Now, notice the world around this future version of you. What kind of environment do they inhabit? How do they carry themselves? What energy radiates from their body, their posture, their eyes? You are not simply observing them. You are remembering them. For the future version of yourself is not separate from you. It is the self you have always been moving toward, the self already alive within the subconscious, waiting to be acknowledged. When you visualize, you activate this future identity. You fuel it with attention. You strengthen it with emotion. You bring it closer, until the line between who you are and who you are becoming begins to blur. And slowly, the subconscious shifts. Instead of preparing you for the life shaped by old beliefs, it begins preparing you for the life you are now imagining. Actions change naturally. Decisions become clearer. Habits start aligning without force. This is the power of visualization. You do not force transformation. You allow it, but to visualize effectively, you must feel the vision, not just see it. Imagine, for a moment, stepping inside the body of your future self. Feel the difference. Feel the way they breathe deeper, steadier, quieter. Feel the way they walk grounded, present, unhurried. Feel the way they respond to challenges, not with fear, but with a quiet confidence born from self-trust. Visualization is not about watching a movie. It is about entering the scene. The more vividly you step into the vision, the more powerfully your subconscious responds. It does not wait for proof. It accepts emotion as evidence. If you feel successful, it believes you are. If you feel worthy, it begins to act as though you are. If you feel free, it begins dissolving the chains that once held you. The subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. It responds to both with equal weight. This is why visualization is not merely motivational, it is neurological reprogramming. Every time you imagine a new version of yourself, you are strengthening new neural pathways, new expectations, new possibilities. The old identity loosens its grip. It becomes softer, quieter, less convincing, because the subconscious is already shifting its allegiance to the new self, the one you feel, the one you embody, the one you allow. Allow this future self to speak to you, not in words, but in presence. Who are they? What truths do they live by? What do they no longer fear? Listen. Transformation does not come from striving. It comes from harmonizing, from aligning your inner world with the version of you that already exists in potential. Now imagine this. Your future self stands before you. They reach out their hand not to pull you forward, but to remind you that there is no distance between you. They are not ahead of you. They are within you. The moment you feel this truth, not think it, not analyze it, but feel, it is the moment visualization becomes alchemy. Identity shifts. Reality follows. See before becoming, and becoming becomes inevitable. As this chapter comes to a gentle close, let this truth settle into your awareness like a soft echo. You are not visualizing a fantasy. You are remembering a future that already belongs to you. Let the vision linger. Let it breathe through you. Let it guide the path ahead. For the more clearly you see the life you desire, the more naturally you grow into the person capable of living it. There are words you speak out loud, and then there are the words you speak only to yourself. These inner words carry a different kind of weight. They sink deeper, travel further, and echo longer. They become the quiet soundtrack playing beneath your thoughts, beneath your choices, beneath the way you experience your own existence. Most people never realize just how powerful their inner dialogue truly is. A single sentence, repeated often enough, becomes more than a thought. It becomes a belief. And once something becomes a belief, it becomes an instruction to the brain, a blueprint for how you see the world and how the world sees you. Affirmations are not magic spells. They are not about pretending. They are not about forcing positivity or denying struggle. Affirmations are simply this: the conscious choosing of words that nourish, strengthen, and reshape the deepest layers of your mind. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself, not through effort, not through force, but through repetition and emotion. Every thought you return to, every phrase you repeat, every story you tell yourself creates pathways that grow stronger each time your mind travels them. If negative thoughts can carve deep grooves into your inner world, imagine what intentional, loving, empowering words can do. To understand the true power of affirmations, you must first understand how the brain listens. It does not listen to logic. It listens to frequency. It listens to emotion. It listens to repetition delivered with sincerity. That is why affirmations spoken once do nothing but affirmations spoken daily, gently, sincerely begin to alter the emotional climate within you. Imagine your thoughts like seeds falling into the soil of your subconscious. A negative phrase repeated again and again becomes a weed, unwanted, draining, persistent. But a positive phrase repeated with intention becomes a quiet, steady bloom that expands from the inside out, changing not only how you see yourself, but how you move through the world. Take a moment to remember the last time a kind word softened you. Perhaps someone told you they believed in you. Perhaps someone reminded you of your strength. You felt it not in the mind, but in the body. Affirmations work the same way, except now. You become the one offering kindness to yourself. Most people carry words from their past comments, criticisms, doubts that were spoken when they were too young to reject them. These words linger. They settle, and they become silent assumptions. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success. I always fail. These phrases are not truths. They are old affirmations, affirmations of limitation, repeated without awareness. The moment you begin choosing new words, you begin choosing a new identity. But affirmations must be felt, not forced. You cannot simply chant phrases you do not believe. The subconscious does not respond to empty declarations. It responds to resonance, to words that feel like they belong to the next version of yourself. Instead of affirming something that feels too far away, choose words that feel like a bridge. Choose sentences your heart can meet halfway. Choose phrases that don't overwhelm you, but gently expand your edges. Let your affirmations be like a soft light entering a dark room, not blinding, but revealing. Now imagine yourself standing before a mirror, not the physical mirror, but the mirror of awareness. You look into your own eyes, and for the first time, you speak to yourself as someone worth listening to. You say something simple, like I am learning to trust myself. And notice how your body reacts. A breath softens, a tension loosens. Something inside shifts. That shift is the beginning of transformation. Your subconscious is not convinced by dramatic proclamations. It is convinced by consistency, by honesty, by gentle repetition that feels safe enough to accept. Affirmations become powerful when you speak them the way you would speak to someone you love, slowly, softly, with presence, with sincerity. You are not trying to convince yourself. You are trying to remember yourself. Because the truth is, affirmations do not create a new self. They reveal the self that has always been there, quiet beneath the noise of old conditioning. As you breathe deeply, imagine your affirmations drifting into the deeper layers of your mind. Like drops of water nourishing dry soil, nothing blooms instantly. But with time, with repetition, with intention, the landscape changes. One day, you will think a new thought and realize it did not come from effort. It came from who you have become. That is the hidden power of affirmations. They dissolve the old inner script and replace it with a new one, not through force, but through gentle rewriting. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the first thought that greets you is kind. Imagine stepping into a difficult moment and hearing a voice within whisper, "You can handle this." Imagine pursuing a dream and instead of fear, feeling quiet, certainty. These are not fantasies. These are the natural outcomes of a mind that has been nourished with intentional words. You will not notice the change all at once. Transformation rarely arrives dramatically. Instead, it arrives subtly in small moments of self-trust, in softer reactions, in quieter fears, in decisions aligned with your worth rather than your doubt. Affirmations are not merely words. They are agreements, the agreements you make with yourself about who you are allowed to become. And as you continue this journey, let this truth settle gently into your awareness. You are always speaking something into existence. Choose to speak what you want to grow. Tonight, let your affirmations echo softly through your mind. Let them wrap around you like a warm light. Let them guide your subconscious toward the future you are ready to step into. For the words you choose today become the person you become tomorrow. There are walls within you, not built of stone or steel, but of thoughts, memories, interpretations, and unexamined fears. Walls that were shaped long before you knew you were building them. Walls that stand between who you have been and who you are capable of becoming. These walls are not physical, yet they feel solid. They feel heavy. They feel familiar. And perhaps that is why they are so rarely questioned, because what is familiar often masquerades as truth. Limiting beliefs are not statements you consciously choose. They are echoes, internalized over time. Whispers absorbed from moments where you felt small, unheard, unprepared, or unworthy. They become the invisible boundaries that quietly dictate what you allow yourself to attempt, to receive, to dream. Most people do not fail because of external obstacles. They fail because of internal ceilings. Ceilings created by beliefs that were never truly theirs. To begin dissolving these boundaries, you must first understand their nature. A limiting belief is not an enemy. It is a memory, a protective mechanism, a conclusion your younger self drew in a moment when survival felt more important than expansion. Some beliefs began as shields. Some began as misunderstandings. Some began in the voice of someone who could not see your potential, and so you learned to see yourself through their eyes. Perhaps you believed you weren't smart enough. Perhaps you believed success was reserved for others. Perhaps you believed love required shrinking yourself. Perhaps you believed your dreams were too big for the life you came from. These beliefs were not chosen. They were inherited, absorbed through experience, repetition, and emotion. But now, you are older, you are wiser, you are more aware, and the beliefs that once protected you may now be the very ones holding you back. To break these inner walls, you must approach them not with force, but with understanding. Imagine standing before a vast stone barrier. You could push it, fight it, attack it, but none of that would move it. Instead, you walk closer. You place your hand against it. You feel the texture. You listen to the echoes. Only then do you notice something unexpected. The wall is not solid. It is hollow. It is made of old stories, stories that have lost their weight but not their shape. Limiting beliefs dissolve not when you fight them, but when you see through them. Begin by noticing the moments in your life where you hesitate, moments where you hold back, where you dim your own light, where you choose comfort over possibility. These moments reveal the edges of your inner walls, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of being seen, the fear of not being enough. But beneath each fear lies a deeper truth. It is not the world you fear. It is the reflection of your old beliefs. Now ask yourself gently, where did this belief begin? Whose voice does it resemble? Is it truly mine? Or is it the shadow of a moment I have long outgrown? You will find that most limiting beliefs have no foundation. They are assumptions held long past their expiration, and when you begin questioning them, they soften, they crack, they crumble. Breaking limiting beliefs is not about creating a new self. It is about removing everything that is not your true self. Imagine peeling away layers of dust from a mirror. The dust was never the mirror. The limitations were never you. Breathe slowly. Feel the truth settling in. You are not defined by the beliefs you inherited. You are defined by the beliefs you choose. Identity walls begin to fall the moment you realize this. But there is another step, a powerful one, a freeing one. You must begin acting as the person you want to become before you fully believe you are that person. Identity shifts from the outside in as much as from the inside out. When you take a small step toward your dream, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels unfamiliar, you send a message to your subconscious. This is who we are now. The subconscious does not resist this message. It adapts. It rewires. It learns the new pattern. Every action becomes a crack in the old identity. Every new decision becomes a doorway. Every moment of courage becomes a rewriting of the self. And slowly, the walls weaken. They begin to tremble. They lose the solidity they once had. One day, almost without noticing, you will step forward and realize the wall is gone. The space where it once stood now opens into a horizon you had never seen before. This is the freedom of releasing limiting beliefs. This is the awakening of identity. This is the moment you realize you were never trapped, only unconsciously confined. Take a breath. Feel the expansiveness quietly forming within you. You are not who you were yesterday. You are not who your past believed you had to be. You are not the sum of your fears, your failures, your old interpretations. You are the unfolding of a new understanding, an understanding that grows stronger with every thought you choose. every belief you question, every boundary you dissolve, and let this truth echo through your mind like a soft awakening. You were never limited, only conditioned. And conditioning can be undone. You are the one who decides who you become next. The walls are thinning. The boundaries are breaking. The identity you once carried is loosening its grip. You are stepping into a self that has been waiting for you all along. There is a subtle force that runs through everything, through your thoughts, your body, your choices, your emotions. A quiet frequency, a vibration, a pulse of energy that continually broadcasts who you are being in each moment. Most people never learn to feel it, yet it is shaping their lives with every breath. Your thoughts are not just ideas floating in the mind. They carry a vibration, a tone, a frequency that radiates outward and inward. They shape what you notice, what you attract, what you interpret, and ultimately what you experience. If you have ever walked into a room and felt tension without a word being spoken, or sensed joy from someone before they even smiled, you have felt vibration. It is real, it is powerful, and it is always active. The law of mental vibration is simple but profound. Your inner frequency determines the experiences you draw toward you, not because the universe rewards positivity or punishes negativity, but because your mind interprets reality through the lens of your dominant emotional state. Your vibration is your filter, a filter that colors everything you encounter. Imagine two people standing before the same sunrise. One sees a miracle, a moment of beauty, a reminder of possibility. The other sees nothing special, just another morning like all the rest. The sunrise didn't change, the vibration within each person did. When your vibration is low, scattered, fearful, tense, the world feels heavier. Opportunities seem distant. Simple problems feel overwhelming. You interpret events through the lens of caution, scarcity, and self-protection. But when your vibration is elevated, calm, clear, open, your inner world shifts. You see pathways where you once saw obstacles. You feel solutions where you once felt stuck. Life flows more easily, not because it becomes easier, but because you become aligned. Vibration is not about pretending. It is not about forcing yourself to be positive. It is about tuning your inner state, like tuning a musical instrument, so that your mind, body, and emotions move in harmony. To understand vibration more deeply, place your attention on your breath for a moment. Notice how the inhale expands you, how the exhale softens you. Notice the quiet hum within your chest, the subtle warmth beneath your skin. This is vibration, your internal rhythm, your energetic signature. Your thoughts influence this signature instantly. A single fearful thought tightens the chest, narrows the breath, contracts your energy. A single hopeful thought softens the shoulders, opens the breath, expands your energy. You can feel this shift in seconds. Your inner world responds immediately, long before your outer world does. Now imagine living with intention, choosing your dominant vibration, the way a gardener chooses which seeds to water. When you choose calmness, your perception clears. When you choose gratitude, your heart opens. When you choose belief, your path widens. Vibration does not need force. It needs awareness. Most people let their vibration be shaped by circumstance. They wake up and wait to see how the day feels. They wait for something good to happen before they feel good. But alignment begins the moment you realize this truth. Your vibration is not a reaction. It is a creation. You are the composer, not the observer. To reframe your reality, you must shift the internal frequency through which reality is interpreted. Think of your mind as a tuning fork. Whatever frequency you hold, you resonate with more of the same. If you hold fear, you notice threats. If you hold doubt, you see limitations. If you hold confidence, you see opportunities. If you hold love, you see connection. The external world does not dictate this. Your inner alignment does. Slowly, gently. Begin observing your inner vibration throughout the day. Notice when you contract, when your shoulders lift, when your breath shortens, when tension spikes in your stomach. These are not random sensations. They are signals your body informing you that your vibration has dropped. Do not judge these moments. Do not resist them. Simply acknowledge, I am out of alignment. And with one conscious breath, you can begin returning home to yourself. Awareness is the switch. The breath is the reset. Focus is the steering wheel. As you learn to choose your vibration intentionally, life begins to respond differently. People treat you differently. Ideas come more easily. You make clearer decisions. You attract experiences that match the harmony within you. This is not superstition. This is resonance, the natural matching of energy with energy. When your vibration rises, so does your life. Not instantly, not dramatically, but undeniably. You begin to feel more capable, more grounded, more open to possibilities. Your mind sees connections it could not see before. Your intuition sharpens. Your emotional body softens. Your sense of I can't slowly transforms into maybe I can, and eventually into of course I can. This is what inner alignment feels like, a quiet, steady confidence that flows beneath the surface. A sense that life is unfolding with you rather than against you. There will be days when your vibration dips. Days when old fears return. Days when doubt rises uninvited. This is not failure. This is nature. Vibration moves like waves, expanding and contracting, rising and falling. Your power lies not in maintaining a constant high frequency, but in learning to return to alignment again and again with compassion rather than frustration. Each return strengthens you. Each return softens the old patterns. Each return teaches your subconscious that you are in charge now. You become the one who calibrates your inner world, who chooses thought with intention, who breathes consciously, who recognizes misalignment without fear. And as alignment becomes your new normal, you begin to understand the deeper truth of this chapter. Reality does not shape your vibration. Your vibration shapes your reality. You are not waiting for life to change so that you can feel better. You are feeling better so that your life can change. The shift begins within, in the quiet places no one else can see. But soon, the outer world begins to reflect the inner transformation. You become calmer. You become clearer. You become stronger. You become more magnetic. not because you forced anything, but because you tuned yourself back into who you truly are. The law of mental vibration is not a technique, it is a way of being, a remembering, a coming home. And as you breathe into this truth, let it settle gently into your awareness. When you align your inner frequency, your outer world aligns with you. There is a quiet truth that lives beneath everything you experience. A truth that most people sense but cannot fully explain. Your thoughts are not passive. They are not empty. They are not silent. Every thought carries a subtle magnetic pull, a frequency that shapes the path ahead of you long before you take a single step. The law of attraction is not about wishing. It is not about forcing the universe to bend to your will. It is about understanding the natural movement of energy, the resonance between what you think, what you feel, and what you continuously allow yourself to believe is possible. When you think a thought repeatedly, you give it weight. You give it momentum. You give it a direction, and slowly, quietly, it begins to carve a path in your inner world. A path your reality will eventually follow. Consider for a moment how a magnet works. It does not strain. It does not chase. It simply is, and what is aligned with its field moves toward it naturally. Your mind operates in much the same way. Your thoughts generate a field that draws certain experiences closer and pushes others away. If your dominant thoughts are built on fear, you will notice more things to fear. If your inner dialogue is soaked in doubt, you will meet more situations that reflect your doubt. Not because life is punishing you, but because your focus acts like a spotlight, illuminating only what matches your internal frequency. The law of attraction begins, not outside you, but within the landscape of your own awareness. Imagine you are standing beside a river. The water is constantly flowing, gentle, continuous, effortless. Your thoughts are currents within that river. Some currents pull you forward. Some resist you. Some spin you in circles, making you believe you are moving when you are simply repeating old patterns. To shift your life, you do not need to force the river to change direction. You need only step into a different current. Your emotions act as indicators of which current you are in. Fear tells you you're in a stream that pulls you backward. Hope tells you you're close to a better flow. Joy, gratitude, clarity. These are signs you are drifting into a current that supports your growth. Attraction is not about intensity. It is about consistency. One moment of positive thinking does not transform a life, but a steady internal shift, a gradual choosing of better thoughts, a gentler inner tone. A new pattern of expectation creates a new magnetic field around you, and that field begins to alter what shows up in your life. Think of a person who always expects disappointment. You can feel it in their presence, a heaviness, a tension, a bracing for something to go wrong. That vibration shapes their choices, their reactions, their interpretation of every event. Now think of someone who believes, even quietly, that life supports them, that good things are possible, that challenges hold meaning, that opportunities exist even when they are not yet visible. You can feel that vibration too, calmer, softer, more open. People respond differently to them. Life responds differently to them, not because they are lucky, but because their internal field invites different experiences. Attraction begins with the thoughts you return to when no one is watching. When the world is quiet and only your inner voice remains. Ask yourself gently, what do my dominant thoughts tell me about what I expect? What do I rehearse mentally, success or failure, connection or isolation, possibility or limitation? The brain does not distinguish vividly imagined experiences from real ones. So when you visualize something with clarity and emotion, you are rehearsing it, teaching your subconscious to expect it, shaping your magnetic field until it becomes the most natural thing in the world for you. This is why athletes visualize their victories, why musicians rehearse silently in their minds, why creators imagine their work before it exists. They are aligning their inner environment with the outcome they wish to attract. You can do the same, not by forcing belief, but by allowing new thoughts to take root and practicing them gently, consistently, until your subconscious begins to accept them as truth. Every time you hold an empowering thought longer than a fearful one, your field shifts. Every time you choose a hopeful interpretation over a negative one, your field strengthens. Every time you breathe deeply and align with clarity instead of chaos, your field expands. The shift is subtle at first, like the quiet glow of dawn slowly melting into daylight. But over time, your external world will begin to mirror these internal adjustments. The right people appear. The right ideas surface. The path ahead becomes more fluid, more intuitive, as if something has unlocked within you because it has. You begin to attract not through effort, but through resonance. The law of attraction is not manipulation. It is coherence, the harmony between your thoughts, your feelings, and your expectations. When these three align, attraction becomes effortless. Your desires stop feeling distant and begin to feel like natural extensions of who you are becoming. Breathe deeply now. Feel the quiet hum in your body, the sensation of aliveness beneath your skin. This is your magnetic field, soft, responsive, always shifting with the thoughts you nurture and the emotions you allow. Let this truth settle gently within you. You are not attracting what you want. You are attracting what you believe you can have. You are attracting what matches your inner tone. And your tone can change. Your frequency can rise. Your field can expand. Your life can transform. You do not need permission. You do not need perfect conditions. You only need willingness, a willingness to think a better thought, to feel a better feeling, to hold a clearer vision and return to it again and again until it becomes the vibration you live in. Your magnetic field is not fixed. It is evolving with you, and as it evolves, the world around you quietly rearranges itself to reflect the person you are becoming. There comes a moment in every transformation when thinking is no longer enough. A moment when the inner alignment you've cultivated must find expression in the physical world. A moment when your thoughts, your energy, and your vision begin to ask for movement, for direction, for embodiment, for action. Thought without action is potential. Action without thought is chaos. But when thought and action merge, you unlock a force capable of reshaping your entire life. You have felt glimpses of this before, those rare times when everything seemed to flow, when decisions felt effortless, when you moved with certainty even if the path ahead was uncertain. Those moments were not luck. They were alignment, a temporary harmony between your inner world and your outer behavior. Now, imagine living in that harmony intentionally. Imagine waking up each day and feeling that the person you want to become is no longer distant but present. Here, quietly guiding your steps. Imagine your actions rising naturally from your identity instead of being forced by discipline or fear. This is what true alignment feels like, a merging of who you are on the inside and how you move on the outside. But for most of your life, these two aspects have been fragmented. You thought one thing, felt another, did something else, and expected clarity to emerge from confusion. It never does. The universe responds to coherence, and so does your subconscious. When you think one way but act another, your mind receives mixed instructions, unclear, contradictory signals that prevent progress. You may visualize abundance but behave from scarcity. You may affirm confidence but act from hesitation. You may dream boldly but move cautiously. This dissonance dilutes your power. But the moment your actions reflect your thoughts, even in small ways, your energy sharpens. Your direction strengthens. Your momentum awakens. Alignment begins with honesty, not judgment, not criticism, but a gentle awareness. Does my behavior reflect the person I say I want to be? Do my choices mirror my vision? Or do they mirror my fear? What identity am I rehearsing in the way I live today? Most people wait for certainty before acting, not realizing that certainty comes from action. Confidence is not the cause of momentum, it is the result of it. The first step is always the smallest, the quietest, the least glamorous. But it is the step that breaks the old pattern. Imagine a seed beneath the soil. No one sees its first movement. No one notices when it breaks open. No one recognizes the moment when it decides to rise. But that unseen decision changes everything. Your first aligned action is the same, small, private, almost invisible, but powerful beyond measure. It is not the size of the action that matters. It is the integrity behind it. A single step taken in alignment holds more power than 100 steps taken in resistance. You do not need massive action. You need coherent action, action that matches your intention, action that reflects your inner shift, action that says to the subconscious, "This is who we are now." When thought and action unify, identity begins to transform. The person who visualizes writing a book becomes a writer the moment they write the first sentence. The person who dreams of being healthy steps into that identity with the first nourishing meal. The person who desires abundance aligns with it by making one empowered financial choice. The person who seeks freedom moves closer with every boundary they honor. Action is not about reaching the destination. It is about rehearsing the identity of the person who will. And when you act from that identity, the world responds differently. You notice opportunities you once overlooked. You attract people who match your frequency. You dissolve resistance without force, because resistance cannot survive alignment. Some actions will feel natural. Some will feel uncomfortable. Some will feel unfamiliar, as if you are borrowing someone else's life for a moment. But that is normal because you are stepping into a version of yourself that has been waiting for you. Discomfort is not a warning. It is confirmation that you are expanding. Breathe into it. Let the unfamiliar become the new familiar. This is how identities shift, not in a single dramatic leap, but through gentle repetition of aligned choices. And yes, there will be days when you fall out of alignment. Days when fear returns, when doubt whispers, when old patterns try to reclaim their place. This is not failure. It is part of the rhythm of growth. What matters is not perfection, but return. When you notice misalignment, pause, breathe, realign, choose again. Action is not a race. It is a conversation between who you were, who you are, and who you are becoming. And slowly, your outer life will begin to reflect your inner transformation. Your habits will shift. Your decisions will deepen. Your momentum will build. And one day, you will realize that the distance between thought and action has disappeared. They have fused into one unified force, a living expression of your true self. This is the moment when manifestation becomes natural, when effort becomes flow, when the life you once visualized begins to take shape in reality, because thought is the blueprint, emotion is the energy, but action is the bridge. And when the bridge is built, your dreams no longer remain concepts floating in your mind. They become footsteps, paths, doors, outcomes alive in the world, alive in you. Take a breath. Feel the quiet power settling in your chest. You are not waiting for the perfect moment. You are creating it with every aligned action you take. Let this truth echo gently within you. When your thoughts and actions speak the same language, your reality has no choice but to listen. As you arrive at the end of this journey, take a slow breath in and feel what has shifted inside you. Not the noise of the world, not the demands of your past, but the quiet awakening that has been unfolding with every chapter, every insight, every moment you allowed your mind to open just a little more. This audiobook wasn't just information. It was a mirror reflecting back the power you've always had, the potential you may have forgotten, and the truth that was waiting beneath the layers of old beliefs. You become what you think, and now you think differently. Listen carefully to the feeling in your body right now. There is more calmness, more clarity, more space. You are not the same person who pressed play. Some part of you has expanded. Some part of you has awakened. Some part of you is remembering the direction your soul always wanted to move toward. Transformation is not an explosion. It is a gentle unfolding, a daily choosing of who you want to be. And tonight, you've chosen yourself. You've chosen a new identity. You've chosen a new frequency. You've chosen a new relationship with your mind, with your future, with the reality you are quietly building from within. Let this truth sink in deeply with your next breath. Nothing outside you is stronger than what now lives within you. Your thoughts are becoming aligned. Your actions are becoming coherent. Your energy is becoming magnetic. And from this point on, your life will begin to shift in ways that feel almost effortless because your inner world is finally working with you, not against you. You are not chasing change anymore. You are embodying it. And as you walk forward from this moment, remember this. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to choose the next aligned thought and the next aligned step, again and again, until your new reality becomes undeniable. Your life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. And you quietly, steadily, powerfully are becoming the architect of your destiny. So breathe and let the transformation integrate. Let your subconscious absorb the lessons. Let your identity settle into its new shape. Feel the truth humming beneath your skin. You are becoming the person you once only imagined. And this is just the beginning. If this journey spoke to you, if something inside you feels clearer, stronger, or more alive, then stay with us. This channel is your sanctuary, a place where your mind grows quieter, your vision grows bolder, and your future grows closer with every video. So before you leave, take one small, aligned action. Subscribe to the channel not out of habit, but as a declaration that you're choosing growth over comfort, evolution over stagnation, and possibility over limitation. Like this video so the algorithm sends this message to more people who are quietly searching for the same transformation you've experienced tonight. Comment below and tell us one belief you're ready to release or one new identity you're stepping into. Your words may be the spark that helps someone else transform. 2. And when you're ready for your next shift, your next awakening, your next leap, watch the next video linked on the screen. Let your journey deepen, expand, and evolve one chapter at a time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for growing. Thank you for becoming. You are powerful. You are worthy. You are ready. Now go and create the life that has been calling your name. You become what you think, and you've just upgraded your mind.